Hello dear students, how are you? I hope all of you are keeping fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. I'm Ashaikur Rahaman, welcoming you again to my online English class. In my previous class, I discussed some basic concepts regarding speech or narration. Especially, I tried to show some rules of changing tenses, as it is going to be the second class on speech or narration. Today, I'll try my level best to show you some rules of changing different types of sentences from direct to indirect. It is quite well known to us that there are 5 types of sentences in English according to their meaning. They are assertive, interrogative, imperative, optative, and exclamatory. And these sentences are in the core of discussion regarding speech. And in order to discuss, we will go through some rules on changing different types of sentences from direct to indirect. So I'm going to start my today's class through showing the rules how we can change assertive sentence from direct to indirect. At first, I'm going to write down the rule or structure. Look at the board, please. First, I'm writing the name of the sentence. Assertive sentence here. You see. First, if we want to convert it into or transform it or change it into indirect, we must here. We must have to write subject plus say or say to or told. Tell or told plus object. When we have an object in reporting speech, we must follow this. If we don't have any object, in that case, we will write only say or said. Then that plus subject of reported speech. Actually, here we will have to write down the corresponding subject. We will have to consider the subject depending on both reported speech and reporting speech. So, subject of reported speech, then verb. As per the rule I showed in my previous class, you know well, and then extension. Or you may say the rest part of the sentence, the rest part of the reported speech. So, here you can see, if you want to turn a sentence in assertive form from direct to indirect, we must follow this rule. If we find an object in reporting speech, we should follow the rule as subject plus say or said to You will have to use to both with say or said or tell or told. If you use tell or told, you don't need to use to plus object than that. If we don't have any object in reporting speech, only say or said according to the rule is necessary, and then that. After that, subject or reported speech plus verb and extension, I mean the rest part of the reported speech. Now we will see some examples. Direct. Rana said to Babu, you did the work, inverted comma. And another example of direct is I said to Robin, you are a good boy. We're going to the examples of detached sentences, separate sentences, and after finishing this, we will go through text with more than one sentence or 2 or 3 sentences, that is passage narration. So if we turn it indirect, according to the rule, Rana said to, as there is an object Babu, we need to use said to or told. Told is better because if you use said to, that will be a bad English. So avoid using said to, try to use told when you find an object in the reporting speech. So Rana told Babu. Here instead of inverted comma, we usually use that. One thing we must keep it in our mind that if we find in reported speech at the beginning of the reported speech you, it indicates the object of reporting speech, and if we find I or we, it indicates the subject of reporting speech. So here you means Babu. As we have mentioned Babu by name, we should not use the noun again. Instead of Babu, we must use a pronoun of Babu, that is he. And it is undoubtedly in past indefinite. As we see here, did the work. Okay? Then it must be converted. It must be changed into past perfect. As we know that if the verb in reporting speech is past indefinite and the verb in reported speech is past indefinite, the verb is changed into past perfect in reported speech. So the structure of past perfect is had plus third form of verb, that is do, did, done. Done the work. So I think now we can understand how we can change. Okay, now second one, we will turn it indirect. Also, I said to Babu, I said to Robin, I told Robin. Then we have to use that. You always will take the object of reporting speech, that is Robin. As we have mentioned Robin by name, we must use his pronoun he, r. As there is no ing after r, it is present indefinite. That's why it will be turned into past indefinite, that is he was. He was a Good boy. So we see here two examples. Now we will move to the next example, that is, I'm writing on the board. Keep watching, direct. Zara said, I am better today. So if we turn it into indirect, we must write Zara. As there is no object in reporting speech, we must use said, and then that as per the rule. I always will take the subject of reporting speech, as there is only the subject, that's why Zara. As we have mentioned Zara here, we must use her pronoun form, that she. Am will turn into was better today, that day. Today it will be turned into that day, especially if we find come. Usually, not always, usually we turn come as go. Here, instead of here, we write there. Today means that day. In indirect, yesterday, the previous day, or the day before. If we find tomorrow, we have to write the next day or the following day. So we see here actually how we change a direct speech into indirect regarding detached sentences. And now it's our turn to see how we can change more than one sentences from a single person from direct to indirect. Actually, whenever we will look at our question paper, we find that a passage narration, a passage, there we may find 3 or 4 assertive sentences from a single person. In that case, we need to connect those sentences logically. And now it is time for us to see how we can connect those sentences logically. Let me make it clear through giving an example. Okay? Look at the board, please. Abrar said to Zahid, I went to your house yesterday. You were not at home. You went to the airport. Then you had to receive your uncle there. So here we find 4 sentences of a single person. Here is Abrar. So now we need to connect these 4 sentences logically. And if we want to connect these sentences logically, we have to follow some certain steps or certain rule. I'm writing the apparent rule on the board and try to memorize, try to understand. Okay? For the first sentence, we usually use said to or told. Then first sentence. One thing you must notice here that all the sentences are in assertive form. That's why we will not face much difficulties in solving this or connecting these sentences. Then you can put a full stop, then subject, and added that, or also said that. Then solve the second sentence. Put a full stop. After subject, we have to write also added that, or further added that. Then solve the third sentence according to the rule. Put a full stop, then write down further added that, or further more said that, plus said that. Then solve the fourth sentence. Actually, the opportunity or chance of getting 4 consecutive sentences, especially assertive sentences, at its trace is very poor. You may not get, but if you get, what will you do? That's why I am showing the rule. Okay? Just try to understand. And okay, now you see how can we connect these sentences logically. So now we are going to solve this problem. Let me erase the upper portion of the board. And now we will be able to solve this very effectively. If we want to make it or turn it into indirect, we must write here Abrar told, as we find object. That's why we must use told Zahid that I. When we find I at the beginning of reported speech, it indicates subject. That's why I indicates Abrar, and we have written the name Abrar, the noun. That's why we will write down its pronoun, that he. When V2 past form, that's why it will be turned into past perfect. Had gone to. You or your indicates object of reporting speech. As we mentioned Jahid here by name, we must use pronoun, that is his house. Yesterday means the day before or the previous day. In indirect, we change yesterday into the previous day or the day before. The previous day. Okay, we have changed the first sentence and come to the second sentence. You were not at home. One thing you must keep it in mind, that these 4 sentences are spoken by Abrar. So we must connect the sentence, first sentence, second sentence, and we have to use at the middle, added that or also said that. It's convenient to use added that. Now subject he you can indicate by a Abrar. He added that. What he added that? You were not at home. You means Zahid. He had not been. We cannot write. He had been not. We cannot write. It's better, right? We have to write, especially had not been. If we use a negative, we must put it in the middle of both the parts. So, he had not been at home. Okay? We have just solved the second sentence. Now, another sentence, third sentence, you went to the airport. So, you went to the airport. This is the third sentence. That's why we have to use also added that or further added that. Okay? Hereafter, we'll write down his pronoun. He also added that. Instead of also added that, you can use further said that also. Also added that. You means Zahid. He, you can indicate Zahid by Z. So here it is, he also added that. He went, V2, past indefinite, had gone to the airport. Full stop, as third sentence has ended here, and then another sentence, the fourth one, you had to receive your uncle there. He further added that. Instead of this, you can use he furthermore said that. We have written he further added that. You had to receive your uncle there. Had to will not change. That's why we will write he had to receive. Your means his, Zahid's. Your uncle there. Now you see how we can connect the sentences logically if we find more than one sentences of a single person. Especially these types of sentences are found in passage narration. So it is all for my today's class. As we have limited time, we cannot make our classes lengthy. It will be a great difficulties for you to watch the classes if we make or if we present lengthy classes. So, I'm going to terminate my class here today, and in my next class, I will show more rules of different sentences, especially how we will change other sentences also. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Be industrious, be studious.